Welcome everybody to my podcast, Big Little Small Talk. I'm Megan O'Hara-Sullivan and I love to talk, but I also love to listen. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the episode. And I'm with Julz McBain, or Julz, which is a very fitting name, I think, given what you do, Julz. Yes. Welcome to Big Little Small Talk.
Thank you.
Now, Julz, you are the creative director and co-founder of the Toowoomba Fashion Festival.
Correct.
Yeah, I've been following this on social media because last year it just looked like Australian Fashion Week had come to Toowoomba. So tell me all about the background. You've only been in Toowoomba since 2023, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. And thank you for saying that too, because that was the aim of the look of the festival. So we pulled it off, which I'm really grateful for. I moved here in March 2023, so almost 2 years now. Me and my two younger girls out here. I moved up here with my partner and I just fell in love with Toowoomba. I just enrolled the girls in school. I got a job at Riley Jewelry Creations and I just felt like home straight away. Everyone embraced us and it's just been an easy sort of transition for us all. So yeah, Toowoomba's our new home.
But how do you go from just moving to a place in March of 2023 to having a fashion festival in March, I think it was 24?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it would have been a year. That's crazy.
So we're not talking about some daggy little thing at the senior sits with, the whatever fashion. We're talking something at the Empire with 3 different runways, with all fashion designers. We've got model mentors. We've got...
Yeah, it's the whole thing. And that was the goal, was to not have another high tea kind of runway where someone's talking through the looks. We wanted to have something really high fashion, an event that people are sitting down and enjoying. It's an experience as well. And I've been a part of Melbourne Fashion Week and watched all the other fashion weeks. So that's my inspiration. That was my goal. And I didn't want to do anything less than that. So, yeah.
So is the benchmark for a daggy one when someone's saying now the mannequin is wearing this ensemble?
Oh, it's not my cup of tea for a fashion show. I like the drama and the lights and the sounds. And
run me through that. Like what's in your mind, what do you see? You see lots of incredible sort of lighting. And,
very dramatic. It is like you're watching a stage show production. So you have your models walking down, but they're pretty much like acting out the looks for you. It's not just a mannequin, and someone just saying what's on them. They are wearing the looks and giving them life. And so each collection has a story. They're coming down and giving the story. There's lights, there's music that goes with it. It's a whole sort of all of your senses wrapped up in one. And it creates a whole experience. So it's just elevating the fashion.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you're obviously not getting labels, you're getting designers, is that right?
Yes. So usually we're reaching out to designers because they need the platform as well. So that's kind of where we want to be sort of showcasing new and upcoming designers. We have a runway 1, which is emerging designers. A lot of them are from uni or they're 1 or 2 years into designing their first collection. And they'll usually do 1 or 2 pieces, maybe 3 if they have enough. When we move into the next runways, runway 2 and 3 are more your everyday runways, and then your designer night after 5 runways. And we do have some other brands that are a bit more established there. So they could be a collection that's been around for a while. Some of them are a store. Last year we had a couple of boutiques as well as designers. This year, I think, if I'm correct, they're all designers, which is really, great. Okay.
So how does the whole runway thing work? When you buy a ticket, do you buy a ticket to 1 runway or 2 runways, or how does that work? So sorry for the someone who's never been to a fashion parade before.
You got a couple of levels of tickets.
Is it called a fashion parade? No.
Runway.
Beg your pardon.
I'd say a fashion parade would be those other ones, and then you've got runways like your,
to get the terminology correct.
So you've got different levels. So you can just have a basic general admission ticket, which will give you entry to 1 show, and then you could buy multiple if you wanted to go and see all. They're great for people who are watching their children or their daughter walk in the show, or their son walk in the show, or they have a designer that's showing that they're specifically interested in. We then have a runway experience option, so they can just enjoy all 3 runways. And then one up from that is our VIP. So that gives you access to our VIP marquee, as well as a VIP gift bag. And then you can have access to the after party as well.
So you get, so the shows are on at different times, obviously, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you get these designers? How do you find them, or how do they find you?
Oh, networking.
And what your networking?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the 101. What's your brief to them? Give me something wacky or like,
Oh, yeah. It's pretty much just we are creating a new market for them. Like they don't have a lot of regional opportunities to showcase their designs, as well as designers and models in regional areas to have a platform. So last year there's a lot of just people putting their trust in us. This year we actually had people contacting us to come into the show, and it's a mix and match. So you got people from out west, then you have the people from the coast. But yeah, the purpose is to pretty much not only open up designers to our market, but have our designers pretty much showcased to everyone and then move through the pathways.
Yeah. The things that I see in the Vogue mags and, you know, those designer clothes, are they really for wearing though? Like you might have a duck hanging off your head or, you know, I don't know, something else.
Oh, look,
crazy.
if you have a really fun event, then maybe, but a lot of the stuff on the runway is then translated into wearable. So if you have a ready to wear runway, you're more than likely going to be able to pull everything off that runway and wear it as is. The more higher runways from the designers, they're more what it looks like on the runway is often translated a bit differently. In person, like something that's see-through will have a slip on it.
I see,
on the little tweaks like that.
Yeah.
So we have a bit of a mix of both this year. We've got our wearables and then our
so it's that they're sort of creating a work of art, really. More
wearable art is
And you know, you see in the movies or certainly, you know, Sex and the City, where they're always going to those runway things. And so is that what happens here? Like there's people sitting down, and are they taking notes or what happens?
We don't have so much as like with New York and all the big ones. They have a lot of buyers and media representation and influencers that sit in those first two front rows. A lot of our VIPs and from our partnerships as well as local businesses, we have some influencers coming along, but it's the same vibe. You've got your front row, they've got their name on the seats, they're taking their photos with their phone. And I mean, I think we might have a couple of buyers this year, so we're still talking to some people for that. And it's the same vibe. You sort of all line up, you walk in, there's people taking photos of their outfits.
So the Fashion Festival for 2025, what's the dates for that?
22nd of March.
22nd of March,
yes.
Right. So you're really in the thick of it at the moment.
Right in the thick of it.
Yeah. How do you recruit the models? I'm just asking for a friend who might be very short and sort of slightly old and like a modelling career.
Look, the modelling process is actually one of my favourite because it's got probably the most energy behind it apart from the festival itself. So you have your casting day where they all turn up and there's just so much excitement and energy in the room. They're all taking photos together and posting things. It's just after a model casting, it's just phenomenal how much content just goes up and it's just excitement. When they get selected, there's just even more excitement. There's just a lot of energy around that process. So.
I want to talk some more about this a bit later on, but I know that one of your goals with the festival is diversity and inclusion. So talk to me about the models, like you wanting people of all sizes, all ages, quite seriously, not just asking for a friend. Tell me about that. Like, and was that a conscious thing that you and your partner said, okay, we need to have so many, you know, bigger size, or what? Tell me about it.
For me, it was crucial going into any sort of business that I had because that was something that I really focused on during my studies, especially, and I became quite passionate about it. So it was a non-negotiable for me to have diversity with all the models. So we have models ranging from, we make 15 our cutoff for the youngest, and then I think our eldest is 70s. So big age diversity. We've also got every hair color, you know what I mean? Like it's everybody's size wise. We've got size 6 up until size 22.
Right. And do you, if no people have turned up for the casting call at a size 22, do you try and go out and find them?
We had a really big response to the modelling casting. So we had over 130 models apply. The pool was fantastic already. So we just worked out, we actually were lucky enough to just be able to solely based on skill because we had everyone represented, which was fantastic. So.
And when you say skill, you know, when you picture those models walking down, they've kind of got their hips jutted forward and they're kind of doing that weird sort of strut. Do you have to...
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I've even tried doing it myself and it's so uncomfortable, but they have it down to a T. And you can tell straight away when someone starts walking, just if they've got it, and there's a presence about them as well. And that can be taught, but that energy and the confidence and the charisma has to already be there. We provide training for a lot of the models.
Right.
We give a chance to a lot of starting models as well as the models that have been working for a while.
Is the makeup done there at the for the casting call, or do they have to take care of that for
No,
themselves?
it's all looked after. Minx Contemporary Hair Boutique is our backstage partner. So they do hair and makeup, and they block off like a whole section of their salon. Last year they had the second story just all blocked off for it, and they had the models in there doing hair and makeup.
All
And then,
130 of them?
that was just for the casting. We go down to
okay.
about 25 to
Right,
30.
okay,
Yeah.
right. Oh, that's incredible.
Big
Yeah.
process to get them down from that
Yeah.
number.
And just going back to the designers, are they conscious of that diversity and inclusion as well?
We make sure they know about it when they're
Right.
signing up. It's interesting. Last year, and whether or not it's just a change in the trends, last year was more so the straighter size models, so 8s, 10s, 12s. And then this year it's just flipped. So everyone's wanting the 12 plus models, which I wasn't expecting. And so now I've had to sort of move some things around. It's great for diversity, but yeah, just something I wasn't expecting. And it's the meter shifting a bit.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You say we. Who is we?
So
who is your co-partner?
Yeah,
your
Crystal
co-founder.
Riley. Yeah,
Right.
Crystal Riley's my co-partner. So when I started working for Riley Jewelry Creations, it was one of our first meetings that we had together with me in that role, where she brought up this idea, and it's something I'd thought about doing out here as well. It's something I'd done and dabbled in on the Gold Coast, but it just didn't feel right. And coming out here, it just felt like the right space to be doing that. So when she asked me to do it, it was just everything lined up. We started planning, and
And what about things like the hire of the empire? Or are you just trying to get more and more sort of donations in kind and things like that?
Yeah,
or?
a lot of the businesses involved are doing in kind, especially last year, not so much this year. The Empire is not a partner, so we've actually had to go and get quotes and organise for the booking and everything like that. A great venue to have a fashion show at. So we're there again this year at the Armitage.
At the Armitage,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And then a lot of our partners have come on as in kind, whether that's in like a collaboration for advertising, whether or not it's a 50-50 on advertising, or they're offering a service that they can provide us for, like whether it's graphic design, but then the others will be a paid partnership.
So one of the other criteria for you is to have sustainability. So what does that mean?
So for me, sustainability is not a black and white thing, because I don't personally believe we can do it all. And it's scary to think to have to do it all. It's all on your shoulders to change everything. And I can't do that myself. And I know a lot of people can't do that. So my focus on sustainability is the consumerism of it, the conscious consumerism, buying less, buying better, reusing things in your wardrobe, starting a circular economy, recycle, resell your stuff, buy secondhand, or buy from a designer who does have a small run and are very conscious of their small run, so that they're only buying for the people who are purchasing their items. So that's kind of how I view it, as well as removing single-use plastic. That's a very strong thing that we do in our events. And that's just to encourage that any event can do it. We're not a sustainable fashion show. We are a sustainably minded event. So we just take action to reduce our footprint when we're having an event.
Just flesh out to me, because I think the listeners would probably know that I'm a big op shopper too. So, and will you then have some, like, is it a special category of sort of reuse, recycle or something like that? Or, you know, creative sort of reuse of something? Or?
Yeah, we're looking at doing a wearable art runway. So it was something we're going to start this year, but it's just one of those things where it was not enough time to get it organised, and it would take a lot of attention to get it started. So hopefully next year. But yes, that is the goal, is to have a wearable art runway, secondhand. We want to have like some markets available during the festival that people can buy some secondhand clothing from. Down the track, I'd love to have like a rental option to wear to events. So yeah, there's a few different things that I'd like to do.
Yeah, I'm sure your brain goes 10 to the dozen at night time while you're waking up at 3:30 in the morning thinking about all the things that you haven't done.
Someone can say a word on television and I have 3 business ideas, and I'm stop. Just focus on these.
I'll just remind the listeners that they're on 102.7 FM, and we're on Big Little Small Talk. We're talking to Julz, who is the co-founder and creative director, I like that bit, of the Toowoomba Fashion Festival, which is going to be held at the Armitage in March of this year. And we're just talking about fast fashion, and I read this scary statistic that the average Australian buys 56 items of clothing per year. So that's the average person, you know, compared to, and that we're the second highest consumer of textiles after the USA. So how does that kind of fit? I know you ran through some of the things that it's important to you with the festival. How, in that fashion world, how does it sit with you, you know, the fast fashion?
Yeah, I think we need to be taking the focus off those really high fashion brands, because it's just creating this overproduction of product. And I know that there's a couple of brands out there that are starting to slow it down a bit, which is great. It's a great first step. But having those smaller designers and smaller collections, there's a lot more thought behind it, and there's a lot more quality. They offer a lot more support after you've bought the garment, for example, like repairs, buying it back again to resell. I think looking at things like that and seeing what your options are as a consumer is important. And knowing, I think a big thing, and a lot of people don't know this, is their own style. Because once you know your style, you can keep your wardrobe quite minimal and just pick from it and know that everything goes together. If you're confused about it, it's when you're going out and buying constantly. So knowing your style, knowing great brands and designers that make quality stuff, and just re-wearing what's in your wardrobe.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a new
It's
outfit every
interesting
time.
that you say that it's the higher end brands. I would have thought it'd be almost the opposite. There is so much cheap and not very good fabric, like, you know.
Sorry, that's what I meant, was the higher produced, higher production
okay,
lines and higher runs of things like that, like your Zara's and your H&M's. They have a lot of clothing coming out daily, pretty much. So I think it's important as a consumers is to stop buying less, to help sort of get that cycle back in again. It used to be 4 seasons a year, and now it's one every week. So getting back into that slower.
You say knowing what your style is. Don't you reckon you just bumble along and then, well, you probably don't, but you just bumble along and somehow or other you end up with a wardrobe full of clothes that you think don't like any of that?
Oh, I still do that. You have to be quite proactive in knowing your style, I think. And I have a Pinterest board where I'll just pin things that interest me. And then I see what the common factors are. And you start seeing a common factor. And for me, it's very just sort of classic minimalist but comfy type of thing. And so I sort of stick to that. And
I see people my age and I think, we just all dress the same, all a bit mumsy and a bit, you can sort of pick. And somehow or other you need to break out of your style that you've fallen into.
Why do we have to be in our 20s and 30s to express ourselves and be a bit more brave in what we wear? It doesn't stop then.
Now, you said with your studies, so I want to talk to you about that because you went back to university and you did a fashion marketing degree with high distinctions. I have a good word. So what did you do before that?
Oh, gosh, many lives. Fashion marketing and business wasn't an option, really, or if it was, I didn't know about it. It was more something that was overseas that they offered that. So I dabbled in other things. I looked at teaching at one point, which is completely not me. I think I did art degree. I didn't finish it.
Right. So you obviously had a creative.
Yeah, very creative. Yeah. So I did my arts and then I liked the theory side of it more so. And then I had my makeup business. So I did makeup for 10 years, bridal, editorial, runway. So that's how I got my first taste into runway.
Oh, I see. So you've been in that world. And how did you sort of think, okay, and why did you think I'm going to go back and do a fashion marketing? Like marketing is one thing, but fashion marketing is fairly specific.
Very specific. Yeah, I've always wanted to study it, and I only ever found fashion designers options when I was in high school and leaving school. So I kind of just looked at other options because I just didn't think that was one for me. So I did the makeup because that was what I loved to do as well. And then I started seeing things pop up on social media about courses, and suddenly it's starting to trickle into Australia. There's more business and marketing side of fashion instead of design. And during COVID, that they had some online classes and I decided to do it. And full-time over 2 years, distance over Zoom.
Right. Okay. And you were able to graduate then. And so what do you think is what are the critical areas of the fashion industry that you think are the celebration things or the things that you don't like about it?
I love the creativity of it. I don't like the judgment and the mental health stigma that's been attached to the fashion industry. And that's something that we're trying to change as well. We have Mind Your Fashion on board as our charity partner. And Jude Kingston goes around and talks to people about mental health. She was talking at New York Fashion Week, just gone, and the one before. So she's a really great advocate for that.
So is this the models and their body image, you mean?
Models as well as designers. It's even for a lot of her topics focus on women and how they're treated within the industry, as well as mental health, body images, and just general kind of the grind of working in the industry is very full on. And so, it's helping with mental health. It wasn't really, no one tackled it until recently.
Yeah. Can you remember a time when you were growing up where something clicked inside of you and you just started to love fashion?
Oh gosh, I can remember being younger and being dressed up by my aunties. And then as I got older, we'd dress up as the Spice Girls. And then I got older and then I was going out with my friends. And so fashion's just kind of always been there, a way to express myself. I thought I'd missed the boat when it came to fashion because I didn't get into the typical working in a clothing store when I left school. And I just thought that was it because everything asked for experience in clothing and fashion and retail, and I didn't have any. And I thought that was me done. But yeah, I found a way in.
Yeah. And what part of the marketing do you love?
It's changed. When I first did my course, I loved merchandising and making collections and not so much designing them. I can't, for my life, but I like pulling or buying for a brand and understanding a collection and understanding the customer, as well as digital marketing as well. I like doing some digital social media and stuff like that. But what happened after uni was I got into the event side, and I don't know how that happened, but it just kind of naturally progressed and I ended up in events and yeah.
Yeah. And here you are.
Yeah.
Is there an era for you where you just love the, maybe like the sleek lines of the 1920s or the craziness of the 1970s that I grew up in, or the 80s with our big hair and our drop waist taffeta dresses? Is there something that you really love the look of the replica? Yeah.
Oh, I've had different eras through my life, but at the moment it's 90s. I'm a very minimalist.
What is a 90s dress? Is that the double-breasted coat?
Yeah, very minimalist, baggy? Baggy jeans, white t-shirt, blazer, Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman type of thing. That's probably where I drift towards more. And then I also like a little bit of 70s influence here and there, but more so
what do you love about the 70s? Not those tight rock star pants.
Oh gosh, no. It's more so the freedom and the looseness of it with the hair and the makeup. That's kind of where my sort of style is there with the clothing of the 90s.
Yeah. Do you have any cringe things in your fashion memory that...
Yeah, anything 2000s, mid-2000s is just like shocking. So that was all the belly button rings and the midriff tops, low-waisted pants. Oh, gosh. It's crazy. A lot of it's coming around again.
Oh, that's what happens.
And I remember my mum saying the same thing, and now I'm here saying it's just coming around again.
I think my sisters and I all agree that it never comes back quite as ugly as it was the first time. It comes back a little bit better. I
find myself trying it again.
Yeah. So where did you grow up? Where did you spend your early years?
Oh, all over. I started in Sydney, and when I was 10, we moved down south with my dad as a teacher up to Gympie for a little bit and then to the Gold Coast for high school. So, and then I was there for a good 10, 20 years on the Gold Coast.
Right.
Not my scene.
Yeah,
I'm not a beach girl.
Right.
No. Yeah, and it was just growing too fast and busy. So.
And you mentioned that you've got 2 daughters.
Yes.
Yeah. And they sort of fashion minded as well. And,
my eldest more so. She's just, she wants to come along to all the fashion shows. She came last year, loved it. And as she gets older, she'll want to get more and more involved in the back end of it.
When you came up here, you had a new partner, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. And how's that working out?
Amazing. Yeah. If it wasn't for her, I would never have come up to Toowoomba because I just knew Toowoomba existed, but it was always just that little bit too far for me to get to, which is ridiculous because it's only 2 hours away from where I was. But yeah, I came up here a few times to meet up with her, and the place is just incredible. And so I just haven't ever wanted to leave since.
So when you have this new partner and coming out as gay, if you want to talk about this, I'm not sure how you feel.
Yeah.
How was that? Can you talk to me about that?
I've just felt really supported up here anyway. And I think I was just it was a reset for me because I had been, not really sort of satisfied with what I was doing in my life. It was time to have this big shake up and to really just go ahead with what I wanted to do with my life. And so, yeah, it's just been really freeing and exciting. And it's just been this ride for the last 2 years.
How did you meet your partner?
Online.
If you don't mind talking about your sexuality. Right. So you were married and you had these 2 children.
Yes.
Yeah. And why, I guess, had you never come out?
So
that's a big complicated question.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I just wasn't in a space where I was able to explore that ever. I just wasn't really given the opportunity to even contemplate it as an option. And so
why was that? Was that because of the family that you grew up in?
Yeah, I grew up in a pretty religious family, so it just wasn't really something that was talked about or encouraged. So I've just never really, I always knew.
Did you know?
I knew, and I just never really questioned anything though, because I just didn't think to, because that's just all I knew was the way I was brought up. So it wasn't until I got a bit older and that I realized that something was missing, something wasn't quite right. And thankfully my ex is great and it's a mutual sort of agreement, and we're great friends now. So I was just really thankful in that regard that I was really supported, and other people will take time to come around.
And have you struggled with, like, have your friends, and you said that you came from quite a religious community.
Yeah.
And how are your family and everything?
Yeah, friends, fantastic. My family's been really great. A lot of the older sort of family members are finding it a bit harder because they have been sort of in a conservative environment. And so, it hopefully takes some time, but that's okay.
And I always find, like, for anyone who goes from, say, being a working person to being a student, or, going from being, with a partner, male partner, heterosexual, sort of normal in big inverted commas, like, how do you see yourself in the LGBTIQ space community? Like, are you sometimes finding it a little bit tricky, or?
I just don't even think about it. It's one of those things where it just becomes your everyday life, and you don't even think about it. I'm very lucky in that I am quite feminine presenting, so I get to sort of go through the movements of the day without it really. I don't have a lot of attention on me, and so a lot of people in the community present the way they want to present, and other people, it's very obvious visually, and so that's when it can get really hard, is when people are putting attention on them and saying things.
Yes, but say for you, I don't know, even just going in and seeing the doctor, and you say my partner, and they go, "Well, bring him in." Or what do you do then?
I just sort of mention her, and they just say, "Oh, okay."
Yes.
I'm actually really surprised with how I haven't really had a bad reaction. Which is great.
Oh, God, thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
And is there anything that you kind of, regret about not coming out sooner?
Oh God, yes. I think where you find yourself personally, you're just so more at ease at who you are. You're not hiding. I didn't even know I was hiding. It's one of those things where it's just this.
Yes, I can be who I want to be.
I'm just being me.
Yeah. So I know you talk about even doing the fashion festival. One of your big things is the imposter syndrome. So explain to the listeners who might not know what imposter syndrome is.
Okay. The best way I can explain it is just from how it's happened to me. And that would be that even leaving uni, I was 37, had a lot of experience in the industry, but I was only a freshly graduated student. And all my teachers told me that, like, being that I've had experience and all this type of thing, that gives me a foot in the door, etc. I still didn't believe that about myself. I still saw myself as just this, recently graduated student, 20 years of age type of thing. I don't deserve a job like this. I don't know enough. I haven't been doing enough of this. You have this thought in your head of, they're going to catch me in this role that I don't deserve. So you keep telling yourself when you're just not good enough for the role, but you know very well that you are good.
Yeah, and it's that taking that leap.
Having the trust in yourself to just do it, and it's a really good feeling when you do prove yourself.
Well, I suppose it's only really financially, if it fails, that it's going to be a disaster. But otherwise, reputationally and whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So you've got this other project going, which is the Fashion Field magazine. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's my new baby that I started last season.
You need that. Yeah.
Yes,
new baby.
I'm putting a stop to everything else now. I wanted a space where fashion was spoken about on a deeper level. So a lot of the times your fashion magazines are very surface level trends, what celebrities wearing what, all that type of thing. And I wanted to delve into topics. So I have columnists who come on every season. So it's a seasonal magazine. It's digital at the moment. Last issue we had Patria, that you mentioned, was speaking on sustainability. We've got Kat Artie speaking on beauty. Bo from Minx writes on hair. And then I have a couple of other guest writers come in to contribute an article. And I want them to go deep into a topic. So someone's coming on this month to talk about pathways in fashion. And we'll talk about study options, where to progress after that, realistic jobs you can get. Another person is talking about color and how to find your best colors so that you can shop in a more conscious way. But it's not just a little blurb article. It's going in depth and actually talking about things that are important, and sometimes can get gritty and sometimes can't. But
how do you, forgive me for not knowing, but how do you make money out of things like that?
At the moment, you don't, but it will be through advertising and everything like that. Yeah. So we'll have obviously full page ads. We're going to reach out to brands to showcase their designs, and again, trying to focus on smaller Aussie brands to showcase their collections and to show, Yeah, we have a very minimalist vibe and classic kind of vibe to the magazine itself. So that's the look and the style that I'm going for as well.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the experience, because I did read this quote that you said, that's more than just a showcase of clothing. It's a celebration of creativity, community, and the ever-evolving world of fashion. So that's the ethos for the magazine as well, I would imagine.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And providing a voice as well. There's a lot of regional voices that get to come through that, don't get to find their voice in those larger publications. And so we want to be the voice and platform and share their stories.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot, Julz. Julz McBain. She's the co-founder and creative director of Toowoomba Fashion Festival, and it debuted in 2024, and we're looking at 22nd of March 2025 at the Empire at the Armitage. Where would you get tickets?
So right now, if you go onto our website, on the homepage, you can go directly to tickets. So they're hosted on Eventbrite. So just if you're on our homepage, there's a banner, buy your tickets now. Made it simple.
So is it like a Saturday or
Saturday afternoon? Right. Yeah. So first show starts at 2. Last show will end at around 5:30, and then moving on to the after party.
The after party. I might finish work just in time for the after party. That sounds good. I'm sort of jumping around a little bit there, but we did talk briefly about growing up in a religious household, and that might be sort of maybe a bit of a sensitive topic. I don't know. Like, was there positives to that?
Yes.
I think
that's important to look at as well, is that while there were things that affected me, there were some amazing positives. I had a very close-knit family, to the point where my extended family is just everyone was involved. So I never grew up feeling lonely. I think the community vibe of it was really important to me. So we would go to church on the weekends, and I'd have my friends and my extended family and my church family. So community, there was never a problem with being alone, which is great growing up.
And do you still get that sense of community from other things now?
Well, now I've created my own community. Yeah. So, I read that quote once where if they're not going to let you sit at the table, make your own table.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I've done
here. There is no table.
Yeah. So that's what I've done here, is to just create my own table. I've created a festival and created my own little community, and these are my people now. Yeah.
Great. I love it. It's really good. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You can see how you go with them.
Okay.
Well, you are a very smiley person, but I was going to ask you, what made you smile today? Is there anything specific?
Watching my daughters walk off to school together. So I drop them off and they hold hands, and then they walk into school together. And every time I just sit there and watch them, and
really warms your heart.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I do. I'm very selective though. I've listened to your podcast, clearly. When I was driving the other day, I was going through them. I also listen to Nothing to Wear. I've just listened to that for years, which is a Mamma Mia podcast.
Oh, okay.
So they just talk about clothing and fashion and style. And then they have a You Beauty one as well. So I just sort of listen to those and keep myself up to date with what's happening. Yeah, listen on my drive.
Do you have like a huge makeup collection?
I did.
Imagine. You don't anymore?
I did. And then when I was pregnant with my second daughter, this is when I was working as a makeup artist too. It was a huge kit, like train case carry thing. And everything was due to expire. And I had to make the decision whether or not to rebuy everything and not use it for a while because I was just about to have a baby, or to just use it myself and maybe look at doing something else, which is what I decided to do. So I just used up all my kit on myself.
Yeah. Isn't it just a bit of a guide though when it says used by? That's my thoughts.
Oh, not with makeup. Really? No.
Oh.
No,
only with food.
Well, with food. Liquid makeup, you have to be careful.
Really?
Yeah, it can grow bacteria.
Yes. Well, I suppose you're doing lots of different people. You have to be very particular.
Yeah, powders
around eyes and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Interesting. And is your partner, does she like being made up? And
no. She likes to get out and skate and be outside, and
Does she wear much makeup?
No. Not at all.
The yin and the yang.
We are the yin and yang of each other. Yeah,
that's great. All right. What about if I ask you, what's the one thing you should never say at a wedding?
Oh, good luck, you're going to need it. Thankfully, that wasn't said at mine. Yeah.
I always think it might be, I shagged your husband or something like that.
Oh, God, imagine that.
Well, if you're watching Married at First Sight at the moment, which I am, which I'm addicted to.
Very addicted.
What about if you could only store one type of food in your pocket, what would you carry?
100% chocolate.
Chocolate?
Cadbury chocolate.
Yeah.
Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate. It just keeps me going.
It's like give you a pimple?
Probably. I mean, I could just be stressed, but yeah, I don't know. I've just always been a chocolate fiend.
Just need it. Yeah,
Need
fair
it.
enough. And what about if you were a farm animal? Which one would you be and why?
Can I pick a cat? We always talk about how a cat has the most perfect life, and so I just reckon cat. Cats just have it great.
What is it that all that lying around? I
Yeah.
suspect you wouldn't really like the lying around too much.
No,
would you?
well, to be fair, our cat goes out at night time and then pops back at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Right,
So,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's probably got a lot
Okay.
going on out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, love it. What about if you could do something illegal and not get caught? What would it be?
Oh, jump on a plane and travel without
Why
having to buy a ticket.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Even stowaway.
Yeah. Have you been traveling much in your life?
I've been to the States. I've lived in the Philippines for a bit with an old job. Yeah.
What about those Milan fashion festivals?
Oh,
you know,
next
those
stop for
yeah,
me.
is it?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine being there and or going to some of those incredible designers? You know, I don't even know who they are.
Well,
the names of them. But
it's not a pipe dream, thankfully, because the lady I was telling you about, Jude, she organizes pathways for models and designers. And last year, she actually took a couple of models over to New York Fashion Week. So, and then one of the stops after that is the Milan Fashion Week as well. So there is great opportunity for anyone involved in Toowoomba Fashion Festival to move over and do those shows. So
right,
fingers crossed, I can get
Yeah.
over. My Crystal went over last year to New York, and so
Okay.
I've already bags this year for myself.
right. Oh, how fabulous!
Yeah.
So, what time of the year is that?
September, October.
Okay, right. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
really, things are really going well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, well, my other question I would like to ask you, because I think you probably, what's your favourite celebrity scandal?
Oh,
Do you have one?
Scandal. I'm always on top of the scandals. Like
You know what they're wearing. Well, talk to me about Kanye's partner wearing the see-through.
I
thing at the
didn't even get to
Grammys.
see it, like the video of it properly yet. I've just sort of seen it back and forth a bit. But he likes to make a statement. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but
Doesn't he have her design often wearing sort of wacky clothes, designer clothes? And
yeah,
stuff
he
as
likes to
well?
be the stylist. I've noticed that in his past relationships as well. He's always taken the role of the stylist. He likes to make a statement. He likes to create drama. I mean,
Isn't that what it's all about?
It is. It is. And you know what? They walked onto the red carpet. They did what they were set out to do, and they got the publicity they wanted. And he's a genius, really.
Yeah.
But-
Well, I had the idea that they'd be sort of sitting around and saying, oh, what would be the most outrageous thing you could do? Well,
Exactly.
probably it would be to go nude.
And the bar just keeps getting raised from every person that does it. So you kind of have to go to more like extreme levels.
Any nudity at the Toowoomba Fashion Festival?
No. Sadly not.
Have you ever had any disasters where the people fall over, like the
Not for
models on,
me.
big kooky shoes and stuff?
No. And look, I told them last year, if they fall, do it dramatically. Like if you're going to fall, make a scene out of it, because one, like you've fallen, like just own it. And two, you probably end up getting better photos and, more
Right.
more runway time anyway. So just own it, go with it, and make it into
Yeah.
something spectacular.
Yeah.
But last year we were getting our last runway out, and there was a bit of a time gap there where I was like on my headset yelling, go, go, go. It's definitely, exciting. Things can go
Yeah.
wrong.
And all that thing, there's a certain format, I guess, where at the end, all the models who come on, they all have to be clapping as they
Yeah.
go around.
Yep.
And then the last one does something. Is that right?
Yeah. We had it this year as well, or last year, sorry, where the models who opened the show did something dramatic as well. So we had a dancer start last year, and then the
Oh.
models were waiting behind her, and then the music and the lights just came on, and the models just walked down together, and it was incredible.
Right. Many men models?
We
Male
had
models?
4 last year. This year we've got 6 or 7. I need to double check that.
Yeah, yeah. And they sort of quite comfortable in their own skin
Oh,
doing
yes.
it and
Yeah.
stuff?
Oh, they all are. They're all amazing.
That's wonderful. Okay, what about the royals? Do you have a favourite royal?
I can't go past Diana. Like, she's just the most classic, friendly, lovable person, down to earth. And I think I'm in my 90s era. So when I see pictures of her, I just think that's exactly what I could wear. She's just amazing. And, I work in jewelry as well. So everyone brings in the Princess Diana references, or it's still popular.
Right.
Yeah.
So that sapphire
Mhm.
with the diamonds surrounding it, the one
Yeah.
that Kate wears now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on Kate's fashion sense?
I like it. It's very withheld. Like it's very sort of just, I'd like to see her express herself maybe a little bit more.
Designer enough?
No, I
Or
think it's the other way. It's too much. Like it's almost like it's a look that's just been placed on her, whereas there's no personality to it as well. I'd love to see her edge it up a bit, which I know is against protocol. But yeah,
what about Megan?
I kind of love her.
Yeah.
I love what she wears, just hands down. She's like incredible. I think she's just got this understated elegance about her, but in a more edgy way, I guess. Like she likes to push the envelope a little bit.
She's got the presence, you think?
She does, and she likes to wear a little bit more of a statement piece when she's doing something. So whether if she's wearing a shirt and jeans, she's got these big earrings with it, or a great bag with it. Like she just, it's not.
What was that story about her having the bag? Wasn't it when they came out here and she had the something or other bag? It wouldn't have been as something as a pedestrian as Oriton, but and then the sales of that just went through the roof.
Oh,
and
yeah, no doubt.
You couldn't get one of those bags for love nor money.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the power, isn't it? The power of celebrity. And so just quickly tell me about the influencers who are coming. How do you find the influencers?
Oh, well, thankfully I've been part of that for a long time. I jumped on the bandwagon of social media back in 2008 when it was starting. So I've made friends with a lot of people over the years in the industry. So I just reached out to a few people, other shows I've done, and a lot of people have just heard about us over the last year too, which has been great. And I just reach out and they're keen to come.
How does it work? You get them to come and photograph themselves, or how do influencers influence?
So they get given a ticket to come along as a VIP, and they are front row, and we ask them to document their experience at the fashion show. So last year, for example, some of the influencers went as far as documenting them arriving at their hotels and getting ready and excited for the next day, and then documenting it.
And then when would they be given the hotel rooms at no cost or low cost?
No, we just offer them the ticket. And they're local, but
is that why they're tagging things?
No, they haven't been given the hotel at a cheaper rate or anything like that. More often than not, they won't tag the hotel, but it will just be more so the fashion festival that they'll tag.
Yeah. Okay.
But they'll just share their whole sort of weekend and make it an experience for people to watch instead of just a photo.
And are you then sort of feeling responsible for recommending restaurants or recommending things for them to do and stuff?
We contacted hotels and a couple responded with discount codes for people who are involved to be able to stay for the weekend. So I'm taking that approach as well with going out to restaurants and cafes to offer discounts for people to be able to eat because they're here for the weekend usually. And last year we brought in about 50K in tourism revenue. And so we'd like to push that higher this time, get more people along. We just wanted to have the local businesses.
Are you getting any sponsorship from anyone, or you're mostly getting businesses? You're not getting like government sponsorship?
Oh, no grants or anything like that. We keep meaning to, but it's just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's on our list of things to do, and we'll get to it. But there's plenty of grants that we could go for. So
like sort of innovation.
Tourism, arts and culture, stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. Okay. All right, my very last question to you, little girl, is what's the song that can't keep you off the dance floor?
Oh, Dancing Queen, ABBA, as soon as it comes on, or I Will Survive.
Oh, yes.
Me and my best friend did it all the time and after high school and God knows how long.
Yes, I think I Will Survive. Very fitting for you.
Definitely.
Well, Julz, I think Julz, have you always called yourself Julz, or was Julz a reinvention when you changed?
I didn't like my name when I was younger. Julianne. I think it was just the way that it sounded all the time to me. It just sounded so Aussie and I just couldn't stand it. And so when I was in high school, I got called Julz, and then I went back to Julianne when I left high school. I think I was just sick of that image. Went back to Julianne for many years, and then when I moved to Toowoomba, I just went back to Julz again because I thought that's who I am as a person. I felt most myself when I'm that person, and that's my identity in fashion.
Do you feel like it's kind of like Julz as in jewelry, Julz? Yeah.
Well, working at a jewelry store, it helps. So, it just turns out that way. Julz and Crystal, who work at the jewelry store.
Oh, right. Oh, wow. That's cute. I like that. Well, look, it's been lovely to hear all about Toowoomba Fashion Festival. And honestly, as I said at the beginning, to see the marketing of it, it just looked like something from another place and not maybe in another time, but certainly like something really high end and something that was going on that just looked fantastic. So I hope this year, I can't imagine that it won't be. It looks like it's going to be really quality, something really great to do.
Thank you. That means a lot.
It is, yeah. No, I'm speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And I'll be back next week speaking to someone else. Thank you so much, Julz, for being a part of Big Little Small Talk today.
Thanks for having me.
That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me on Big Little Small Talk. I hope you can make the time to join me next week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favourite podcast app.